Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to Carl's Conversations. This is a safe place to have difficult conversations, but we're not going to have a difficult conversation this evening. We are right in the thick of it with our Black Excellence Showcase. And we have a tremendous example of not only Black excellence, but excellence in general with the brother on the other side of the screen in the person of the Honorable Victor S. Angry. He is known statewide, but especially in Prince William County. He is one of our elected officials. He serves as a supervisor on the Prince William County, Virginia Board of Supervisors. He is the president Association of Counties, and he's in his fifth consecutive term as chairman of the regional transit system here. I'm gonna think of the name in a minute. Potomac Rappahannock Transportation Commission, and also he is a retired United States Army Command Sergeant Major. And let me tell you, they don't let the least of these into that rare air. You have to earn that. And so much respect to Supervisor, the Honorable Victor S. Angry. We appreciate him. And I want to make something clear so he doesn't have to. Now, I do realize that this is a part of the Black Excellence Showcase, but we're dealing with an elected official here. Now, this is my platform. I'm doing the Black Excellence Showcase, but he represents all people. So I don't want anybody leaving him little nasty notes saying that he's only talking to the Black community. That is not true. And as we do the Black Excellence Showcase, we are not being exclusive as far as pushing other races and cultures and creeds out. I'm just representing the community from which I hail, and I'm showing the world that there's so much excellence in our community. That's all. That's all. We're not being exclusionary to others, but this man represents all. And by the time we finish this interview, you'll see just how much he is representative to so many across the platform. So God bless you, Supervisor Victor Angry. I thank God that you said yes to our invitation, and I'm glad that you're here, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, and thank you for that. I was looking down at my phone as you were talking because you triggered something in me when you said that this is more than just a Black people show, right? Like so I mentor a lot of our youth, and so it was a couple of young men that I had just literally thought about when you said that, and they're not African American, so I want them to tune in too. So hopefully they tune in and kind of watch this. We work in a lot of areas and with a lot of folks, and I just want everybody to kind of have the same opportunities or realize the same opportunities that I have found in my life to get me to where I am now. So that was that. But anyway, Carl, thank you again for having me on your show. I mean, it's been a while, and I wasn't a supervisor last time I was on this show. It just never stopped.
I think you may have been running for office.
Yes, sir.
Well, I tell you, I'm glad that you're here. Listen, we talk to people of all different spaces in this workspace. We talk to entertainers, we talk to politicians, we talk to clergy, men and women, we talk to entrepreneurs and businessmen and women from all walks of life. I want to put the spotlight on you because so many people may not be familiar with the tremendous work that you are doing in the community and on the state level. So I'm just going to give you a few minutes. I did an introduction, but nobody can really tell another person about you like you can. So I want to give you a moment to just tell people about yourself.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Victor Angry. Been on the Prince William Board of Supervisors now for 6 years. Actually now the longest serving supervisor here, most senior Democrat on the party, with 6 years right now in the position. In that time, I'm also, let me back up. Before I got here as a volunteer firefighter with Dale City Volunteer Fire Department, I'm still a member there. I'm not running as much as I used to, actually really at all, to tell you the truth, but I'm still active and working my way back there. But I'm a volunteer firefighter. I'm an elected official. Right now I'm in my 5th term as chairman of the PRTC, which is our OmniRide bus system. And lastly, I'm currently the president of our Virginia Association of Counties, which is 95 counties in the Commonwealth. So basically, the organization of VACo is our largest lobbying firm that basically, instead of having one voice of a county want to talk about bills or issues going on with our delegation in Richmond, we all band together as 95 to actually make the voice louder. And so I'm honored and happy to be this year serving as president. Prince William County has had 2 previous presidents, and so very happy to even be the first African American president for Prince William County, representing for VACo representing Prince William County. So it's been a pretty experience and a very good journey in all the things I've been doing. So really happy about my life right now. It's a lot going on. I couldn't have planned any of this. It just all kind of naturally happened. But I will say the seed to all of this was my military career. And that kind of set the path of all of that you see before you now.
What drives you? You said the seed is your military career. I know that you served for about 30 years on active duty. What drives you to do what you do now? And I'm sure that must have been a tremendous transition from uniform to what you're doing now.
Oh, yes. Well, to answer the first part, what drives me 100% is the people. I'm driven by the people because everyone is screaming at the same level, and really saying the same thing, but it's just coming at so many different directions. And, if we just stop and listen to it, I feel that I'm really good at hearing, breaking through the chatter and really getting to the point of what's going on and kind of having that discussion. So if there's one thing I'm going to do, it's have a discussion really about all of this. So that drives me. And what was it? The second part of your question you asked, you said
I was talking about the transition from active duty to this.
Transition is incredible because, it's one thing to be a sergeant major or even an enlisted soldier in the Army, especially a sergeant major. We all in the military are bound by one thing, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So there are rules and regulations that we must follow, and there are leaders who adhere to those rules and regulations and hold everyone to the standard. Well, that doesn't work out here in the political world. And as I've always said, there are no ethical police. And it gets interesting because you have to find a way to navigate your way through without, yelling or without your demeanor. And there's ways you got to have a conversation. And I'm learning that it's two-way. You got to, listen to be heard and then, talk so people can hear you. So it's kind of a two-way street with the conversation. I'm really trying to focus on what folks are saying and then give the truth to the response. But lately in politics, it's gotten so to the point where no one trusts any elected official. So I don't know when we'll ever turn that curve and get back there, but I can only just do what I can do. And I really just try to remain true in what I say. And that's that.
Some people may be wondering, you talk about you being a supervisor on the Prince William County Board of Supervisors. We talk about you being the president of the Virginia Association of Counties and even the chairman of OmniRide. But some people may be asking, okay, but how is what he is doing affecting me and my life in the region and even in the state? Could you answer that question?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Carl. That is an excellent question. A supervisor, and I'm going to kind of clean this up. Towns and cities call them councilmen, council people, councilwomen, and the mayors. In the counties, in certain counties, because not all counties call them supervisors, but counties in this particular county and most around the Commonwealth are called supervisors. And what you have is a chairman of that board. So Prince William County has an elected chair that runs for 4 years and represents the entire county. The county is 7 districts. So we have 7 supervisors that represent each district with a chair that represents the entire county. What that means is because America is founded on a democracy, everything we do is a vote. So even though we're 7 districts, we're not like 7 mayors. We're just 7 councilmen, councilwomen, council people. And we all go in our chamber and we have a meeting every Tuesday, roughly every Tuesday, a 2 o'clock session for general government business, and the 7 p.m. session, it gets into land use and the things that the citizens want to really be a part of. And we vote on anything that's happening throughout the county wide. So difference there is Prince William County is roughly, I'm sorry, there's my motion light again. Prince William County is roughly half a million people, and each district roughly is about 77,000 people. So all of that goes into the chamber on Tuesday, as we now all the people don't, but all the discussions that we're voting on does, and that's where we make those decisions of how we're going to develop or how we're going to add street lights, or improve roadways, or add a school, or add a fire department, police department. What that development looks like. How's residential development, like all that stuff goes into the chamber, and we vote on that. No different than what a mayor and a council would do in a city or a town. It's just that counties are relatively larger. So that's kind of in a nutshell. There's a lot that goes with that, from taxes to public safety to health and welfare. We kind of touch it all.
How is it being the senior Democrat on that council?
I'm just one word: challenging. It's always going to be challenging. There's this sense of respect that one has to have. Just because you're the senior, it doesn't make you any better than anyone else. And so we have to go into these discussions as equals with that. And that's one thing I try to do. One of the things that I really applaud myself on, what I'm proud of, is my military experience, again, as I was saying, because the leadership that I got there, I try to bring into any room where I'm speaking with anyone, so that everyone can understand we're playing on the same field, and we're trying to win the same game.
I get it. Now, we have young men and women throughout the county and the region looking at this interview, and they may want to know, how in the world do I get to where Supervisor Angry is? What was your path to get into elected politics?
So my path was, as we said in the National Guard, ready and relevant. So one must always remain ready and relevant. In other words, I did not seek to be an elected official, but I had aligned myself with everything I had done up to that point, that when the opportunity presented itself, and I didn't see the opportunity coming, but it came, and I was asked, it all fell in line, that my prior achievements and accomplishments and professionalism led me to the moment where I was asked to step into this role. So I would say to any young person, first of all, if you're seeking to be an elected official, definitely get involved with local offices. Find a mentor that you want to learn from as an elected official, and kind of maybe find a way onto a board or commission, or volunteer in that office on that path. Or if you really just kind of want to seek to be better in your life and get opportunities of leadership that will align yourself for any opportunity that comes up, then what I said previously, I will say again, like, it's really as me and one of my generals were talking about, it's a short list of luck and timing, where you prepare yourself to be on this lucky list of a short list of people, and the timing seems to work out perfectly for you for that way. So
when you were a kid growing up, did you see this level of success in life? Were you able to imagine yourself doing the type of things that you have done, seeing some of the places that you've seen, and having the accomplishments that you have now? Were you able to vision that as a child?
I was not. No, sir, Carl. And you are asking all the right questions. Because so I was born in 1968. So if you could just imagine, my teenage years are really the 80s, right? 80s. I joined the Army in 87. So what was happening in the 80s? That's what you need to kind of go back to, and that would be how I saw my life growing up. And I'm going to tell you the truth. When I was just at age 10. I wouldn't have known that I grew up poor, because, the family loves you and the community loves you. And we just we're living, we're going to school, we're getting the education, we're doing this. But something was always missing for me. And I always felt like, I remember I saw my first black firefighter on the back of a fire truck, and I thought, wow, black people can do this. Never knew that. It's just a lot of where I was, I would even say that Jim Crow laws, and this is Altamont Springs, Florida, so this is just the 80s, so 60s, 70s, really. I think those things still is. Separate but equals was still very relevant growing up, because my mother would never let us ride our bikes to school. We had to stay away from like the white people on the streets. I mean, this is growing up as a kid. Now that may sound crazy today, but that literally was I remember these stories. Walk across the street on the other side. If you see a white family coming down the other side of the street, like, don't make eye contact. All these kind of little things growing up. So, then the older I got as I grew up, and I'm starting to kind of see the world still wasn't any better in the 90s, say the truth. But I was in the military at this point, and I got to experience more by leaving my community, which was, I think, the difference maker for me, was leaving my community and going out and really seeing the world. I remember in basic training when I had a young white kid, Gilly was his name. He was from Texas. He had never seen a black person before. And I had never seen a country, kid from Texas before. And we both had this conversation because, he was told that black people had tails. I don't know if you remember those kind of stories, and then I was always told to just stay away from white people, and this. And so we ended up being like best of friends and, going through our military, and met my first guy from New York, and the accent was killing me, how he just all this, he was like the Run DMC kind of, you'd never seen that down south. And so, but as I grew and just kind of got out there in life, there were some things that I knew about my childhood and what I saw that I had to learn in my first situation where, one of my E6s, as I was a private, called me, the N-word. And I told my commander, and he said, well, I don't think he meant it. He said it a minute that way. I knew then that I wasn't going to win those battles. So I had to learn all the regulations, Uniform Code of Military Justice, carry myself in this manner. So if you try to touch me with any of the stuff you're saying, I know legal ways. I had to really play the system and grow into the system, and thus kind of becoming the person I am now, because it's one of the things you just got to know, like, they're out here. These rules are here. Whether you care about them or not, or you think you can play outside of them, we have rules for a reason. That's why, law abiding to me means something. And I think as people just understand that there are ways you can, anyway, I'm probably getting off track with all this, but I just feel there's a way that you have to know what you know, but there's also a way you just don't go out here and just think because you're human and you're here and you're relevant that, there's some folks that just don't do bad things to people because of that. So I just try to, let people know that I know what's going on, and then I really carry myself to that manner, and then just try to bring people along with me, because the more that know, the further you go.
I'm actually really glad that you're being this transparent. I didn't know whether you wanted to go this route or not, but since we're here, like you, I'm a child of the 80s. My teenage years were in the 80s. I joined the Army in 91. I graduated high school in 89, joined the Army in 91. And I have very similar background stories as you do as far as racism. I mean, direct in your face racism, even experiencing some of those things in the military with people that I was reporting to. So very similar. Now, we come from that, and in our lifetime, we're very close in age. We have seen and experienced tremendous success. And you and I have had some successes in spite of some of the negativity. But there is a movement in our nation now that appears to be wanting to take us back. Now, from where you're sitting in Prince William County on the Board of Supervisors, in the state with the Association of Counties, and in the region with our regional transportation system, how are you able to navigate the present atmosphere of not all, but some in the movement to pull us back?
Another great question, Carl. So the first thing I will say is this: I'm not afraid of our past, right? Our past is an embarrassment. No matter how you look at it, the American past is an embarrassment for this country. But we can't shy away from it, because to not know it means that history can repeat itself. So I'm quick to say that you have to know your past, and some things people just want to erase. I mean, on all sides, your current administration wanting to erase a lot of history, and you've heard, your vice president say that white people's lives matter. You should be proud of your race. Of course, I think there's more integration today than ever before. I think the world really truly is a melting pot, and that's a beautiful thing. I love that. So I don't want to get caught into the color lines of people, because I just want people to love each other as they should. But I also know that this history and this dark past of ours, if we don't know it, then we're going to easily repeat it. So I don't want to erase any of it. I really don't. Now, I don't want to see Confederate statues up around the country. There's a place for that. So you can put that in a museum somewhere to tell the story about what America was, but I don't think it's to be displayed on the streets as if this is the life we're living. They say to the victors go the spoils, and South lost, the North won. And I think a lot of that transition hadn't changed a lot, or it's changing, or it's changed and trying to change back. And there's a lot of that kind of discussion points about, hey, and I don't want to get into anyone's feelings about how they feel about their own lives. Love your life. And that's one thing I can tell you. I just think we as people need to understand we don't have a good history here in America. So as long as we're willing to kind of monitor that and we don't go backwards, hey, your history is your history, And so I don't want to ever discredit anyone for how they were raised. People in the past who, we're not too big of fans of, say we're not fans of at all, but I'm not going to, hurt today's society. As long as today's society understands we don't want that past again. We need to understand who we are now and move forward, but never forget where we came from. I just think that's critically important as people, on both sides continue to want to erase things. We had, I'll just put it out there on Front Street, Prince William County, the seal. People want to change the seal. Well, I don't think changing the seal is the answer. I think branding the county is the answer. Like, come up with a branding that really talks about who we are now. But I don't ever want to forget whatever version of you think what that means. I don't want to forget that. And so I think when we forget, that's when bad things start creeping back into our lives.
Well, that's one thing that I do honor about you. You are an overcomer. And even though we probably could sit down and chop it up and tell war stories about all the craziness that we have suffered at the hands of racists and bigots, but every time I see you, no matter where I see you, you have been consistently the same. You've been very honorable. You've carried yourself with tremendous integrity and dignity. And let me tell you, as a voter, as a person about town, I truly appreciate that. What do you lend that to? Because some people are not able to overcome some of the hurts of the past, but you seem to be able to operate in it in spite of the negative things that have happened and are happening.
Yeah. So before I answer that, I'll just simply tell you this: like, I love me and I can overcome these things, but I too have where I just have to like walk away, and so I have to find. So I now have my backyard, my patio. I became a birder during COVID, so I watch birds and listen to birds and feed birds, and I'm a super birder. But and so I need that at times because sometimes I feel, and I'll be honest, I'll be upfront with you. I feel a lot of times like it's just me, like when it all comes at me and I don't feel like I have a outlet or anyone on my team, I just kind of go away, walk away, get in my trails. I just love my backyard, my birds, and I'm trying to find my centerpiece again. And I would tell you, man, that's been happening a lot more lately than the past. So because it is a lot going on in the world. But as I tell you, like how I do it and why I can keep my positive attitude, it goes back to this little kid named Scene. And so my middle name is Sean, S-E-A-N. They called me Scene growing up. And when I was 10 years old, Carl, I think I might have told you the story before, but I didn't want to live anymore. I just didn't feel like, I need to be on this earth. I didn't think anybody would miss me if I was gone. I just felt like it was too much going on. My mother, my dad had left out. My mom, I kind of reminded her of him. And so I kind of took a lot of these, like the things that other people were feeling, I took them personal as if I didn't need to be here anymore. So I really had contemplated, like, basically killing myself, right? But then something had told me, it said, what would you be like when you were 50? And I still remember this. At 10 years old, what would you be like when you were 50? And I got to tell you, and I say this all the time, when I turned 50, I just looked at my life and I remember that kid, and I keep seeing with me all the time how great my life has been. Even that journey from 11 to 49 with all those challenges and people telling me I didn't deserve these ranks and you didn't do this, it was only affirmative action and all this blah, 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 other stuff. And I get here and then I continue to achieve and end up in these great positions or honorable positions, I'll call them. I don't know if people think they're great, but even to be a part of this whole movement of life, I feel good about it. And so I always remember that, and I don't ever want to just end up snapping and being this people lose it. My positivity comes from that kid, man, and it's me, but that kid, man, I'm very proud. I know he's very proud of who this guy turned out to be. So now it's like I can't let him down until it's time for me to move on, to be with the big guy. So.
And that's wonderful. I think one of the people that you have influenced has just joined us in the studio. I'm not going to put him on the screen now, but Mr. Omar has just popped up in the virtual studio. I'm not going to put him on screen just yet, but I know Omar can hear us. And I think this is one of the young people that you have influenced.
Oh, man, I done sent Omar the wrong link. I posted sent Omar the link to watch, not the link to join in.
It's all right. Well, Omar, you can hear us, so you just stay right there and enjoy.
I wanted him because Omar is one of as you were talking earlier, he's a great young man that's just been doing great things, man. He sought me out, and I'm very, very honored, man, that I can be a part of his life, man, for real.
I love having these kind of conversations with people like yourself. A lot of times, people really don't get to know elected officials. When you're a public figure, it's not always easy, number one, to let your hair down. And I know both of us are bald, so, but it's not always easy to let your hair down. It's not always easy to know when and where. It's not always easy to know whom you can trust. But I love how you have made yourself approachable and touchable, and really a resource for common everyday folks. Now, what moves you to do that? And I know that not all of your contemporaries conduct themselves the same. What has moved you to be like that?
So first, let me say, I'm not going to speak on my contemporaries. I don't know what they do. but mine literally is the fact that I'm not, just maybe I'm not supposed to be here at that when I was 10 years old, right? But the fact that I'm here, I know I'm supposed to leave this for a lot of other folks, a lot of young folks, but also a lot of older folks too that still may feel like they hadn't gotten their lives together. Some of the guys I grew up on the streets with, man, I still kind of, I see them around. Yeah, I see them around, but I don't feel like I'm not gonna get into their lives, but it's just I always think like, man, you could be doing so much more. So, maybe there's someone see that and just realize, let me get up here and try this and do something, because that's what life is, man. I love when people keep telling me, like, I ask folks all the time, why do you do what you do? And they're like, you only got one life. I mean, you only have one life as far as we know, but in this life, you should try to make the best of it. So, I try to share that, man. And I think the best platform to do that from is these platforms, because I could be retired on a boat fishing somewhere from my military career and just moved on and done it. But I think these platforms here, VACo, fire department, bus systems, all are a platform that, as long as I'm here, and even when I'm out of this platform, but while definitely in this platform, I will always be a open door for folks that just want to know more, ask more, be more, see more, and do more. And if anything I can do to help them achieve higher, I'm always for higher. So let's go,
Yes. Prince William County has come a long way. As you know, you probably know way more than I do. It wasn't too long ago when things were looking kind of bleak for Prince William County, and we had a total turnover of the county board of supervisors. And when we got that new look, I think it brought new life to the county. And let me tell you, when I was in Prince William County, I lived in the eastern part of the county. And what it looked like when I got to the region in 2012 and what it looks like now in 2026, totally different. And I'm going to tell you, thank you for whatever portion that you played in that. Where do you see Prince William County 10 years from now, as far as some of the initiatives that the county is working on, some of the building that we're doing, some of the infrastructure, and not only for the county, but you have information and reach and influence beyond just Prince William County and the region and state, but more especially Prince William County, since that's where you serve as an elected official. Where do you see the county in 10 years?
Well, Carl, you've heard it here first, that in 10 years, Prince William County will be the most affluent county in the nation. That is my prediction. Yes, and I also further believe, that, right now what we need is some form of a ground zero. So we need a convention center, a indoor sports complex, a complex, something that can bring the people there, right? And also be able to get out of there. And so that's the difference. We are at a place right now that we can learn from Loudoun, we can learn from Fairfax, we can even learn from Virginia Beach. And we can take all of what they have and what makes them great and center that right here in Prince William County. And I think right now we are at the beginning of it. We have the infrastructure, and we're in the right direction to do that. I think, the decisions we make next will be the most critical ones. I think what we've done to get us to where we are now is the beginning of my statement of being an affluent county. So that's my prediction in the next 10 years. I think right now what you're seeing is a lot of development. And I will tell you one thing about development. Development means that we are a thriving county. That means this county is one that actually has a financial backbone and structure. Go and look at some. I won't bring up the county, but look at some of these places in Illinois. Look at some of the places in Maryland. Look at some of these cities and towns, and how no infrastructure wants to go there. No businesses wanting to move there. We've got a great business market here, and so as long as we have that, and we're actually good stewards of that, and we're being proficient and professional on both sides of that, and not just abusing any one business coming through here. I think that's the difference and what draws all that to Prince William. And so as we keep that up, I'm really excited about the next 10 years. I don't know where I'll be in 10 years, because they say the best way to make God laugh is to tell him your plans. But I can give at least my predictions of the county. I don't know where I'll be in it, but I feel like where we are now would be a great place in the next 10 years in Prince William County.
I have to ask this question. Now, that is great that Prince William County will be the nation's most affluent county. And I do believe that is absolutely possible. But we can't forget about what the Bible calls the least of these.
Yes.
Prince William County has a homeless population. Prince William County has people who are without, people who do suffer of food insecurities. We have many migrants in Prince William County, Latino communities from all over the world, a huge West African community. So as we grow in affluence in the county, what is the plan as far as how we will continue to care for what the scriptures call the least of these?
Yeah. So we actually, and I was thinking about this over the weekend here, because we have an East End Navigation Center, which was one of our homeless shelters over by the Omni Ride. I don't know if you've seen the bus shelter over there, or the bus system over there. But so we're building up this what we call an East End Navigation Center, basically to give our homeless an address, place to shower, clean up, do this stuff, because we won't dig into the depths of the issues with some of our population on the streets, whether they're wanting to be homeless, or there's some human trafficking elements, or something. Like, there's a lot of different variations. We're still digging into trying to sort out all of that. But the reality is, if we can create create these centers that can help find out what population we're working with to get off the streets, and then what do we have left. So there's one coming up on the east end right now, and we're also going to stand up one on the west end of the county. As you know, this is a large county from the mountains to the Occoquan River. It's like 348 square miles. So we're a very large county, but really trying to capture that and put these centers in, and then go after the population. This has been a topic of discussion in Prince William County here now. I'd probably say for the last 3 months, but even prior to that, every board term, I feel like we always addressing this issue, having the conversation, but we haven't gotten a handle on it to the best yet. A lot of that was, how do you get the panhandlers off the street, because people are, upset and worried about hitting someone, or don't want to be next to that turning lane, as folks are knocking on your window. So a lot of challenges that we've been working on, and I've seen it better. I mean, at least I'm not hearing. I know I've probably got 20,000 other things going on, but I'm not hearing any discussions about the panhandling piece. So I have to take a peek at that and see what's going on, if we got a good handle on that. I know it's been keeping our officers busy, but we're working it. We're working it.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah,
we certainly appreciate it.
yeah. And
go ahead, please.
I do think, because we're discussing affordable housing right now, and I think as we can figure that out, and if we can get more units up, and we can start looking at different varieties of housing, then we can look at one point we were actually looking at some of these like tiny homes. What was it? Well, I'll say I won't say the board was, because that you think the board is thinking this, and maybe it's something that we need to talk about as a board, in building a community where we can house our population, our homeless population that want to be housed there. So a lot of different ideas. At the end of the day, most of this still comes down to the individual, and some folks don't want to be a part of any shelter or any of that. So have to figure that out as well, what that population looks like.
Well, I appreciate your integrity and your willingness to work with that population. We certainly need it. By virtue of your position on the board, and other positions that you hold, and even being a former senior enlisted member in the United States Army, you are a leader. And with leadership comes tremendous responsibility and accountability. When you are speaking to young people, or people who are trying to get into a better situation, what are some of the nuggets that you're able to share with them from your own journey?
Yeah. Well, the first is, it always starts with dignity and respect. So you have to have dignity, and you have to respect people, man. And it's the old cliche, honesty is the best policy. And I know we can't tell the truth 24 hours a day for all the stuff, but the reality is, in these positions, the answers you give, even if they have to be the right answer. And let me just say what the right answer can be. The right answer can be, you don't have an answer. So you don't always just have to give an answer just because someone asks you a question. If that requires more research, then just simply say that. It's not a good look. I get it, because in these positions, people think we need to know everything, but I just think that's literally impossible as a human being. I know there's a small percentage of people who have those photogenic memories that can remember everything, but I'm not one of those guys. So I think it starts there. And I think the other thing is, you have to be willing to look in the mirror at yourself. I used to do this survey, and I don't know how to do it now, but I'd ask people, how am I doing? To really want to hear the truth, because I want to work on those things. And oftentimes, some of those points they bring up aren't really for me. It's a little more personal for the person that's saying it, but I still want to have that conversation with them, either way, just to see if we can't find a common ground. End of the day, I'm not a fan of enemies, and I really try not to make any, or try not to have any. So, I think that open conversation is always critical when I'm talking to youth, or anyone for that matter, and just how they can, move in that direction.
That is great. How are you handling the urgency of the moment in our nation right now?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get you in trouble, I promise you.
No, you're
But
not.
but there is an urgency
Yeah.
in our nation. There is an urgency for truth. There is an urgency for people who are without. There is an urgency for order. And I know that you don't serve on the national level where we are experiencing a lot of trouble. I know that most of what you're doing is on the local and regional level. But how are you dealing with the urgency of the moment in American history?
So, Carl, make no mistake, I'm 57 years old, and we've been through a lot. I mean, I've seen, a lot of things. But this time, this one period now just seems so concerning, and I'm going to tell you, it's very hard because I don't like to watch the news because it's nothing good. It's always just some negative. But I have to, and and if I don't watch the news, what I end up watching is a YouTube recording of what goes on, and especially with the hearing. I've been catching up on that. It was just a lot to watch live, and so I find myself watching it now. When I'm sitting with myself, and then just really for me, the information and knowing what I'm watching there is the state of America, the state of Virginia, the state of Prince William County, the state of Neabsco district, right? The district that I represent. So getting right there, it's a pulse check that I want to know what is happening there. And I got to say, because we are so boots on the ground leadership, the people that I see that I deal with mostly are really working for a living. Like I can have conversation about did you catch the news last night? And most folks are either just getting off work or took their child to a soccer practice or a gymnastic practice, or all these families are moving. And then the things I get are traffic is congested. They didn't clear the snow off the turning lane, or the sidewalk stuff, snow in the schools, which is reality stuff that I'm happy to kind of be a part of. So the reality of what's happening on the streets is where I'm really effective. And then what's happening around the nation, I just want to always kind of get a 5,000 foot level of what's going on there, so that as I'm kind of monitoring these streets and walking around, that I'm not seeing things that are concerning. So, and I'm not seeing those things necessarily in the streets of reality life, but I'm hearing them all on the TV. I've got hang on a second, my room tells me I'm still alive because I'm moving. But I've got my reporters here and our papers, and they're writing their articles, and I'm just trying to keep a pulse on everything and make sure that there's a balance in the street of what's going on. And then I really stay close. For me personally, I stay close to our police department and our sheriff's department. If I may have gotten an email from someone that's kind of concerning, and just kind of monitor that to make sure nothing's really going on there. I really don't want bad stuff here. So just trying to find that balance and keep the peace.
All right. Now, Virginia does have a new governor and a new state government. How is that affecting our region? What type of expectations do you have as far as some good stuff coming to our region?
Well, if I were speaking as VACo president, I would say that local authority must be maintained by local elected officials throughout the Commonwealth. Okay, that's my VACo president speech. Okay, pitch. I would say I'm so thrilled that she is there, and I know she's got a lot of ideas, and we really want to support. I want to support her on them. Prince William wants to support her on them. The state really does want to support her on them. So we just gotta. And I know everybody's not all Democrats, so we got Democrats and Republicans. My hope is that we can find that common ground. As I said before, the majority of us live right here. It's the extremes of both the parties that are pulling this country apart. I'll say that on this show because the majority of people live right here in the middle, and this is where you see many people getting along and doing things and really trying to find solutions. And I hope that we can we can get it back here in the middle, so we can pull this thing back together. But I'm excited for her. I'm very excited for her. I had an opportunity to spend a little time with her on our legislative day last week or the week prior. I've been all over this. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. So really excited about where we're going.
Well, let me ask you this, I guess on the personal side, you had some challenges in your early life, and then you had great successes in your military career. As you deal with your own household, or your wife, your children, how are you able to take those challenges and successes and apply them to your own family?
Well, rule number one, I can't talk politics at home. So we don't take politics home. It's very hard. I find myself, even working on things, and so that's a challenge for me. But my family balances me, and they're very proud of me, and they all have their lives and their careers and doing great things, and so anytime I can offer something, one thing I try not to do is interfere in their lives and be like, hey, you should do this. So I wait for them to ask me things, or if they got a situation or a question, so I can just be dad. Dad takes out the trash and cuts the grass and do that stuff. So, but I think we got a decent balance there. Sometimes I can be a little bit too political.
Well, you are a politician.
Yeah, I was kind of in there. Yeah.
Well, listen, as we begin to wrap this conversation up, I want to give you an opportunity to address the audience. Maybe there's something that we did not cover in this conversation as we put the spotlight of Black excellence on you today. And please take your time, and anything that you want to pour out that maybe I didn't ask you. The spotlight is yours.
Well, I know, like today they did our church did a Divine 9 Day. So, I don't know if you knew, I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and that's been a great this whole experience for me as a Kappa came from when I think I posted it somewhere that not only did I see a Black fireman when I was 10, but a couple of years later, still a young man, I saw a young gentleman, good-looking guy, swirling a cane. I said red and white cane. We don't say it's crimson and cream, but he was swirling this cane. I thought, and his confidence was so powerful. Like, and it was early 90s. I'm thinking it was still, not times where we're really running things, but his confidence is so cool. And I thought, man, I really, really like that. So never knew I would end up becoming a Kappa man, but I did that in 2011. No, 2008, excuse me. Oh my God, I retired in 2008, and been very active ever since, and just a supportive organization. So really, really, really love that. I bring that up because I just think about all the organizations that I'm, kind of my families, my Army family. I still have my fire department family. I've got my Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity family. I now have my Neabsco district family. I've got my family, and I don't just mean my immediate spouse and 2 children, but my siblings down in Florida and throughout the east end of the country, all doing great things. So all these families that I have, man, have just been so supportive, man. And I'm always quick to share something I've achieved or I've done with that group. One thing I try to be delicate about is not I don't want anyone thinking I'm bragging of anything. I know that can get a little touchy with some folks. So for me, my energy, my secondary energy comes from folks, those people behind me that stand behind me, or even my safety net under me. So if I fall, they're always going to catch me. I always want them to know how I'm doing. So I send those back out and around, and that's kind of been a good thing for me. But and I kind of want to shout out because I got another a young man, Alex Huggins. I think he's watching right now. But I got a few young men, that I've been working with, or just kind of I don't know, I'll say hanging out with, but I think we're actually getting some things done, some mentoring stuff. But it's really, really cool to have folks kind of find you and say, hey, man, I want to ask you some questions. And that's really cool. Now, you asked me to share some things that I might have missed, but that kind of is what I want to share is, you know, I think when people say how proud of you they are, goes a long way. And it's the same for me. Like you know, I love what I do, but I love the people who know where I came from and why I do it. And so I always want them to know how I'm doing, and so they can either give me some advice, some guidance, or just tell me, hey, you're doing great things, keep it up. And that motivates me to keep it up.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you spent a little time with Carl's Conversations
Yeah.
in this showcase of Black excellence. You are a tremendous example of excellence anywhere, and we don't need a label for it. I'm truly thankful for your journey. I'm thankful for your integrity. I'm thankful for your willingness to work in the community and to be a shining example of what selflessness is. And you haven't been a braggart at all, but it's good that we let people know what we're doing because there's so many people who need help. There's so many people who want someone to look up to, something that will motivate them, something that will give them a little push. And I think that this conversation has done that. And
Yeah.
so I want to say thank you. You could have been doing a whole lot of things this evening, but you chose to spend a little time with us. And I
Carl,
certainly am appreciative for
I went and put on a suit for you, man. No, no. I, I would like to say this though, in all seriousness, in closing, I've lost a lot of people to suicide, family members, young people, and I just want to say, I mean, listen, I take my life, and for what I literally when I was 10 and I said I didn't want to be here anymore, and I look at my life now, and I said 50 years old, I'm 57 now, so that journey, man, has just been incredible. I just ask anyone who's feeling down on themselves and think that you don't matter, like give yourself a year, give yourself an age, get to that age and see what your life looks like. I'm telling you, you will be thoroughly impressed because this day or whatever that day is or whatever this is, as you're thinking about it, you won't even realize it. And when you get there, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm probably your vision of your future if you ever had thoughts like I had at 10 years old. And I would just simply ask that give yourself a number on the wall, 50, 60, 40, whatever, 30, and get there and then look at yourself and see all the greatness that has happened and all the people who have motivated you to be who you are. And then all the lives that along that journey you have changed because if you weren't there, then they probably wouldn't be there. So I just everything has an order, and I'm just impressed with life. I think life is just an amazing thing. So, and it's
well,
not
that
all,
is.
but it
I
is.
thank you for sharing that. Somebody needed to hear that. And so I follow in with Supervisor Angry and many of our brothers and sisters in arms. I suffer from PTSD, and I'm not ashamed to say that. And I know that there are some who don't feel comfortable coming forth. But many of our military veterans who have seen horrible things in combat, and some never made it to combat, but just the pressures that you go through in training can be enough to really sear your mind. I have a special place in my heart for military veterans, but military veterans are not the only ones who are battling with suicide thoughts because mental health is something that we all need to take seriously. I have a very close friend who lost his son at a very tender age because of a mental health issue. And so I'm very supportive of what Supervisor Anger is talking about. Please, if you feel depressed, if you feel lonely, if you feel isolated, if you think that the best course of action to fix your issue is to take your life, may I suggest that you think again. You are very important to someone. You may not know it,
Yeah.
please realize there's always somebody watching, there's always somebody listening, and there's more help available than you know. But sometimes we can't tell that you need help until you tell us. So please tell somebody, and let somebody help you along the way. Supervisor Anger, I'm so thankful and happy that you spent this time with us. This has been a great episode, if I say so myself. I want to let the audience know, those of you in the live audience and those of you in the playback, that Carl's conversation continues this Thursday, the 19th of February. We're going to have another episode of the Black Excellence Showcase, and we're going to be interviewing Dr. Robin Sherrod, a tremendous evangelist, a tremendous entrepreneur. She's an author, a businesswoman, retired senior non-commissioned officer from the Army. When you look at her, you wouldn't think that she was a drill sergeant at one time. So make sure you tune in with us this coming Thursday, the 19th of February at 7:30 p.m. We're going to put the spotlight onto Dr. Robin Sherrod, and I believe that you'll be blessed by that conversation. For Supervisor Victor Angry and for Carl's Conversations, we're going to sign off for this evening. I want to thank each and every one of you who've been a part of this conversation. Bye-bye until Thursday evening. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.